Hello everybody, this is the iPhone channel here. Over here is the iPhone 17e, and today I'm going to review to you guys the iPhone 17e to see whether or not it is a good phone for $600. So why not? Let's go. So starting out with pricing, the iPhone 17e would start at $600. For $600 you would get a 256GB storage variant, and if you were to pay another $200, aka $800, you would get 512GB of storage. So there are two storage options. And the base storage is an upgrade from the 128GB storage variant seen on the 16e. And you do get three colors for the 17e. So of course black as well as white. And over here is soft pink. Now the 16e I bought last year was in black and white. But because I already bought a black and white 16e, you could check in the previous video. Therefore I bought soft pink. This is what the box for the soft pink 17e looks like. Now, even though the dimensions are the exact same as the 16e in terms of height, width, as well as thickness at 146.7 millimeters tall, 71.5 millimeters wide, and 7.8 millimeters thick, the 17e is 2 grams heavier at 169 grams as opposed to 167 grams on the 16e, due to the fact the front is made of ceramic shield 2, which offers 3 times better scratch resistance. Now let's move on to display, as the 17e does have a similar display to that of the 16e, with the 17e having a 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR display with 460 pixels per inch, just like that of other modern iPhones, as well as a regular old-fashioned 60Hz display with no always-on display. And also, you have the old-fashioned notch as well, seen all the way back from the iPhone 10 all the way to the 13 Pro series, with it last being seen on the 14. Similar to the 16e, the max brightness indoors is 800 nits and 1200 nits in HDR mode. Another feature similarity between the 16e and 17e is the fact the battery is about 4,005 milliamp hours big. I'm not joking, the batteries still remain the same in terms of milliamp hours for both the 16e and 17e. Now let's move on to materials, as the iPhone 17e is made of matte anti-reflective glass on the back, just like that of the 16e. Ceramic shield 2 on the front, an upgrade from the 16e. And the 17e has an aerospace grade aluminium frame, and it does not have a camera button anywhere. So here's how you take pictures. Yep, using the volume controls. Now, just like every other phone since the 10s series, the 17e does feature IP68 water resistance ratings, which means up to about 6 meters in 30 minutes. Now, similar to the 16e as well as the regular 17 series, the 17e only supports USB-C 2.0 with transmit speeds of 480 megabits per second, so no USB-C 3.0. So the transfer speeds are going to be okay, but it is not going to be as fast as that of the Pro series. Now let's move on to processors, as this is where the 17e would outshine the 16e, because the 17e features the same A19 processor seen on that of the regular 17, as the A19 has 6 cores, 2 of which are performance cores clocked at 4.26 GHz, and 4 of which are efficiency cores clocked at 2.6 GHz, and there is a 16-core neural engine, as well as a 4-core GPU, so slightly lower than that of the regular 17, of which the regular 17 has a 5-core GPU. But anyways, let's test it out, shall we? Because the 17e does have 8 GB of RAM, so I'll see you guys after I finish my CPU benchmark. Okay guys, the scores are in. Now this is the single-core score as well as the multi-core score for the 17e. Now, as for max charging speeds, the 17e does have a respectable max charging speed at 20 watts, which is quite okay for a phone like this. Not really top notch like say Xiaomi phones, but still it is quite reasonable. as it is capable of reaching 50% charge in 30 minutes in wired mode and 15 watts in wireless mode with a 20-watt charger or higher. Yes, you heard it correctly. The 16E did not support MagSafe and it only supported Qi wireless charging. The 17E includes MagSafe wireless charging, finally. But without getting too excited, the 17E still retains the same Wi-Fi seen on that of the 16E with Wi-Fi 802.11ax, which is Wi-Fi 6, not even Wi-Fi 6E, which is the slightly older standard of Wi-Fi, because many modern iPhones and Androids have Wi-Fi 7, which is 802.11be, but the 17E only has Wi-Fi 802.11ax, aka Wi-Fi 6, which is quite outdated. But there is no Bluetooth 6 on the 17E as well. In fact, the 17E only has Bluetooth 5.3, which is what's seen on that of the 16E as well as the 16 series. And even though the 17E does not enjoy the new Apple M1 chip, which offer enhanced Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Thread, personal hotspot, and AirDrop reliability, it is still nonetheless decent for many tasks. And the 17E does include the upgraded C1X modem, which is an upgrade from the C1 modem, but has no ultra-wideband chip, no millimeter wave support, so therefore it is stuck with sub 6 GHz 5G. But this phone, I heard it's going to be better than Qualcomm equipped modems in terms of low coverage areas. Not only is the C1X chip optimized for efficiency, it is described as the most power efficient modem on an iPhone, likely designed for better battery performance for the more affordable units as well as the iPhone Air. Now last up, let me talk to you guys about camera, as the iPhone 17E has a single 48 megapixel Fusion main camera with an aperture of f1.6, allowing a 12 megapixel f1.6 2x telephoto camera with regular optical image stabilization and true tone flash, as well as 10x digital zoom. Now let me show you guys what the camera app looks like. Over here it is. You could have 1x, 2x, and you could zoom in all the way to 10x. But there's no way to zoom out as there's no ultra wide lens. But just like the latest and greatest phone, the 17E does include 4K 60 video recording, both in rear and in front. Now video recording is at 4K 60 via Dolby Vision on both the front and back. It does support action mode, and as for the front-facing camera is a 12 megapixel true depth camera with an aperture of f1.9. So why not? Let me show you guys the camera test, and later I'll tell you guys the conclusion. Okay guys, over here is a 4K 60 frame per second video recording on the iPhone 17E, and over here is what my new apartment looks like. Okay guys, over here is a 4K 60 frame per second video recording on the iPhone 17E, and yes, this is what my apartment looks like. Okay guys, over here is the outdoor video sample. I'm currently at a mountain now, and this is what the video sample on the 17E looks like. And over here's my car, and yeah, I'm just gonna show you around the whole mountain, and yeah, I'm just gonna walk around a bit. Now here is the conclusion. Here are some of the new changes between the 16E and 17E. The 17E does have a bigger base storage at 256 gigabytes as opposed to 128 gigabytes seen on the 16E. It does have a new pink color over here if it matters to you. It has a more durable ceramic shield too on the front. It has the improved A19 chip, which is going to be faster than the A18, and the 17E would get 1 more year of support than the 16E. The 17E also includes MagSafe wireless charging, as well as a C1X modem, which is an improvement from the C1 modem, which is already highly efficient, and slightly improved portrait modes if you really care about such thing. So, should you buy the 17E or should you buy the 16E? Well, it depends. If you want these extra features I just mentioned, as well as one extra year of support, then go ahead and buy this, because the 17E costs $600, but I've actually found several specimens of the 16E in good condition, in base storage, as well as either via a carrier or unlocked for between $300 to $400 on both eBay and Swappers. So if you don't really care about the storage, or if you use less storage, then the 16E is fine. But if you want more storage, then the 17E is crucial. Unless if you want to buy the 512 gigabyte 16E, which would cost somewhere around $400 to $500 on the used market. So thank you guys for watching. Please give a big thumbs up, subscribe for more videos, and I'm gonna see you guys soon.